and welcome to Creatives in Lockdown in Conversation, part of the Wandsworth Arts Fringe 2021. I'm Sandra Porter, and I'm very excited to talk to Sarah today. Sarah is talking from Berlin. Welcome, Sarah.
Thank you. Welcome.
So Sarah is a very passionate filmmaker, a very passionate woman, and a very passionate mother. And we're going to be exploring all those sides of Sarah today. But first, Sarah, thank you so much for coming and talking to us today. And I'd like you to talk to us about the beginnings. What influenced you to choose a career in filmmaking?
Mm-hmm. So it took me some years of my life to discover what is really that filmmaking was my goal, let's say. When I was a child, I was very creative. I didn't stop painting. I made my own clothes. And then after finishing school, I went to Brazil and I was working in a project with girls and also in the middle of nature, and we had some mango trees, and it was a very different life, and it was also changing for me. But then I came back to Berlin with the age of 20, and I started in academic studies because I guess I didn't really, it was not really an option for me to do something really in arts, because I didn't allow, I guess I didn't allow to myself. But what was funny that it came by the sides,
Yeah.
I made also an internship in Mexico, and I was supposed to translate. It was somehow journalism, news from Spain to German, but I was always taking photos. So my chef, he said to me, my boss, he said to me, "I'm not sure about your translations, but your photos are so beautiful." So, and then it came by the sides. I was also always taking photos. And then I had a professor at university, and she was offering that we could make films in the middle of my studies in gender studies. So also I made my master thesis, my Master of Arts, and I went to Brazil and I made a documentary, and I stayed there half a year. So this was before I made a film with a group in university together. This was also amazing for me. And I participated in everything. So I wanted to make the camera. I wanted to edit because I wanted to learn it all. And this was for me a turning point, Then it was really like, okay, now I arrived where I want to, this is really what because in university, I didn't know really where to go, how to work, how could be my work, what's the profession behind. I didn't understand. Yes. But when I started to make films, because I could bring it all together, it's creativity, it's with people, and it's research. And then you have an idea, and then the reality gives you another idea. This is also interesting for me. So I never went to fiction. What I think is more interesting for me is documentaries, and because you have an idea about things, and then you see, oh, maybe it's different. So you always have to be open to it and look what's happening. So it's like an improvisation, And since then so it changed many times. Then I started to make documentaries. I also tried to make a second one in Brazil. I went there 3 times, but then it was so difficult, and I understood that making documentaries, it's really hard because it's long process over the years, and how do you earn money with it? It's not so easy. And then in 2010 I founded Pérola Filmes with my colleague and friend Luciana Rangel. She's a Brazilian journalist. So we made it first together. And I wanted to, so I understood that I should find something, also combining everything. So I could do my art, and then but it has to be a business, So I have to earn from it, because also it was the time when I was a mother, and then I had to earn money from it also. And and then, but a creative kind of thing, you know.
Yes.
So yeah, it took me, and then there was a time I was thinking maybe I lost so much time in finishing my master. But what I think now, with more age, that it's beautiful to make many different things, and now it comes together, because I'm not just, for example, a camera woman.
Yes.
I'm mainly making the whole idea. So I'm having an idea, and then I'm writing a concept, and I'm thinking, and it goes very deep, you know. It's also with the clients I have, I think about strategy and so it's very big thing, you know, and this is helpful for me, all my studies, you know.
Yes.
So I think I can bring many things together, making films.
It's wonderful. And one thing that we really notice with your work, being it a commercial work or more conceptual work, is that warmth, passion really comes through. We can see your signature, your imprint in your work. So at the end of this interview, we're going to leave Sarah's Instagram, where you can see some of their work and follow her in her website. And we see there is a huge diversity to your work, of diversity of places, diversity of people, diversity of subjects. So how important is diversity for you, Sarah, in your work?
Yeah, it's really very important, because the diversity keeps me alive. Because it's always a challenge also, because not one project is like the other project. Every time I have to, so let's say, for example, when I started filming a lot of music and classical music, and then it's important to know a bit how it works, you know. You can't do many different things. But then I also started to make book trailers, you know, and so the challenge is different when I'm filming music. For example, once I had the big pleasure to film Sting in a studio in Berlin. You know, they asked me.
Yeah, that's amazing.
From Universal Music, because I was working for Deutsche Grammophon, and then I'm just like a cat, you know. I'm in the middle of it, and I'm merging, and it's really like, it's the most beautiful thing. And I guess I was high for 2 days. It was just, it was, you know, because I'm like a fly on the wall. Nobody would recognize me, or if they recognize me, it's like you recognize a cat, you know, passing by.
Yeah.
So there was, you know, it was like this. And this is so beautiful, because I think also it's a difference with men. Some men maybe can be a cat also, but also for the years, you know, I ask myself, what's my work? So how can I bring, as a woman, you know, be a professional, and a good professional? So what's my personal input? So I recognize that this is something, you know, that I'm a woman and can be a cat, or I could travel. So or people ask me to travel, or I was just inventing. I said to clients, so if you want to shoot this and that, I should shoot it in India, you know, because I can't shoot it here. Or I go there, and I go to the seaside of Croatia, and then I would film under the water, because, you know, and then I just sell the idea, or this is just because I like to travel, and then I implement it to my work, you know. So yeah, in reality, it's what I like, so I try to implement. And so it was, over the years, a very big diversity in working in different countries, working in different areas, like the classical music, or not only classical, and the book trailers, for example. Also, as I mentioned, my studies, you know, when I make a trailer for a book for Surkamp, which is a big editora, book label, one of the biggest German book labels. So I read the book first, and then I think about what's the main parts in the book, you know, and then and then you try to translate it into a small trailer. So you try to take the essence from what's there, you know, what the author wanted to say, what's the special about it. And this is mainly in every project for me. So I try to come to the essence of what the person or the label or whatever the product is about. And then I try to translate it into a story and also in images. So when I have when I have my clients, it's first I have to ask many things, you know, about target groups and which, you know, market and everything agency maybe would also ask, but then I make it totally free, you know, I try to play. And this is maybe what's really what I discovered, because there was one turning point for me when there was a time I separated, and then from one month to the other, I had to pay everything alone. You know, it was really not easy for me. I had 2 small kids, and then I started to go to Paris to trade fairs to meet clients. You know, and then I was talking to them. And then I understood that, some clients say, okay, interesting, but thank you. And the other said, oh, it's amazing. And then, you know, you just show up and you just try out, and then you just try to play. So what I'm doing, I'm also very serious. I'm very serious about, you know, this is for me a big responsibility, because I want in the end, you know, it's really like, it's really not easy, or I take projects, it's really not easy, but I try to understand it first and then I play. So it doesn't come out of I have to be good, or no, I open the space and then I play, and then it's very joyful, and it's also joyful to go to the edge, you know. So I try to go to the edge, but I'm not passing the edge.
I know what you mean. You go, how far can I go? How far can I push this?
For example, we saw an image of the cow eating from the plate.
I love that image.
With the flowers, you know. And this was the first project I made for Rosenthal, which is a very traditional porcelain from Germany over the years, very traditional. And it was the first project with them. And for them, I also went to India and Croatia and everywhere. So I took the plates to the mountains all by myself, the very big rucksack. And I asked myself, what can I do with the plates? How can I play with it? So I put it there, and the cow was not really eating the flowers. Somebody said to me, you have to put salt. So if you put salt on the plate, the cow would like eat it, you know? So I was doing it, having my fun, and then I really didn't know. If they would like it or not, or hate it, because you know this is this very expensive plate.
Exactly. Yes.
And afterwards, I found out that there was a very connection. You know, they had other stories with Gropius wanting to build at their fabric a small I don't know, house for pigs, you know. Gropius. So it was very funny that afterwards I found out there was some connection, but it was really not, you know, it came out from my intuition.
That's incredible, Sarah. And all these experiences must have a massive impact on you. And you know, do you feel like you grow with each experience? Because you have to learn from each experience. Like you said, classical music, you have to learn a little bit how it works so you can do that work properly. How do you feel? Do you feel you grow with each experience, or it's more fluid than that?
Yes. First, I think I have to be open to jump into cold water because this is what I do mostly, you know, because I really don't know if it also works out. So many times I said yes when I really didn't really know how it would work. But then it's my challenge and my energy to make everything. So try everything out, you know, and go also for in the end, for example, a film, it takes a lot. It's like good if you translate, you know, if you have you translate a book, so you have your first translation, but the first translation is not the really, you know, if you work it and rich word, you know, you really go there again and again and again, and then it's, you know, and then you feel it. Okay, so it's also a lot of, you know, this detailed work, but I learned. I learn always. So I'm always learning. It's always a challenge, and but I have to. I feel that I need this also. I can't. You know, I need this, and if I'm not learning, it's boring. I think I need the challenge also. I felt it also in lockdown. You know. So maybe this could be a next question. Huh?
So yes, exactly. So you're just talking about lockdown. So what changed for you during lockdown, and how have you adapted during lockdown?
So first thing, I had my third child before, and it was the time for me to really start again. You know, because she was getting, you know, older, and then I would work, and then we would start again, and then everything stopped. You know, I made a project with her. She was very small, so this was fine. After 4 months, when she was 4 months old, I made a big project, but it was a lot in nature and so on. So I was working like always, but really I wanted to start again, and then I was stopped, and then I couldn't work. So there was nearly no work. There was one thing. So we are filming for Deutsche Welle, a cooking show with the German Brazilian chef cook, and this was going on. So it stopped just for a month, and then it was gone. So there was a bit of work, you know, but the rest was all uncertain. And I couldn't, so it was really like, stop, you know, it stopped me really. And I was with my kids, so there was no school, and I couldn't work. We couldn't work for months. But then, if you remember, in the summertime, it got a bit better then, after the first lockdown. And then I had this client again from this beautiful plates, Rosenthal, and they had another series of plates. And then I said to him, yeah, but we can't shoot it in Berlin, you know. We have to go somewhere. And then finally I shot in Madeira, this beautiful island.
Wow.
Yeah, and this was like a narrow passage, you know.
Yes.
Because before and after it was impossible, but we took the right time, and also we filmed our cooking show there. So it was one opportunity to me to make something really beautiful in the most beautiful nature. And then you have to imagine, if after I shoot, I spend a lot of time with my footage.
Yes.
So I was, you know, a lot of time in this beautiful nature with this beautiful food and colors. So I was in my, you know, after I could work a bit again. So I was in my working place, in my office, and looking all these beautiful colors in nature.
That's so amazing, Sarah. Sarah, you also said to us in one of our conversations that during, I don't know which period of lockdown, that you didn't know what to do, and then you started helping other artists, other creatives. I thought that would be something you could share with everyone. That was really good.
Yeah, what I got more and more angry about this. It's you can't this, and you can't that, and then you observe the others. So my twin brother, he's a singer, and I always went to his a cappella group on air everywhere. You know, I know them for years. And then he said to me, they weren't giving concerts, more than 80 concerts at that time. They missed, you know, and they were totally stopped. And then I said to my brother, you know, whatever you need, whatever you want, I do it for you with the greatest pleasure. So I have all my camera stuff, light and everything I was buying over the years. I have it here, and I want to make it, I have it all. It doesn't cost me nothing, just my time and my, myself to do it. So yes, they had a festival. It was an online festival, and I was shooting with them the whole like a concert, and then editing everything with the most pleasure. It was so beautiful, and we had so much fun. And it was also I started to make yoga online with the teacher also.
Yeah.
And then it was the same. I thought, wow, it's so hard for her. She can't give her classes.
Yes.
And she has to, in so short time, to make it all different online. And, and she, yes. And then I said to her, okay, what do you need? I'm there. We can do an exchange or whatever, because
Yes.
you will not pay me. It's for sure. I don't, because I want really to support you. So yeah, this is what so in my limits, because I'm also was a bit limited because I had the kids, but what I had of time, I spent on doing this with others. And it was a pleasure for me. So I was not just helping them, but also the pleasure came back,
Yes.
Because it's beautiful. For me, it was important to go on, to move on, and to create. And if it all stopped, or it seemed to stop, then I asked myself, okay, but what can I do not to feel lockdown stopped, I have to move. And if I move, I feel alive, and then everything comes back, energy comes back. But if I froze, I'm like, oh, and then I really felt it. And this year, so it was month after month, no? I think there were many phases of this, no? And then we maybe thought, okay, it's getting better, and then it got worse again.
Yes.
And this year, it was in March, I really was up to here, because I thought if you have kids and you really go for the route, you really you are strict and you don't meet people, and you do little things, you go crazy, because it's really unhealthy. And then I changed some things for me, and also for the kids. And I participated in a bodywork workshop again.
Yes.
I took the risk, and it was a turning point for me in March. Because I understood that self-care, and I guess many people are getting really also or depressive or going into depression. And I understood that there are the rules, and I would respect them, and I would deal with them in a responsible way. But also I have to see what's important for me, and what's important for the whole family, for every person, what do we need? So I opened some windows and doors, say, okay, I need this now. And I needed to meditate and to dance and to, for a weekend. And everybody tested. And then I was waiting for a week, and this was, okay, nothing happened, great. But I felt so different after,
Yes.
So.
Sarah, you mentioned, obviously you have kids. So how many kids have you got?
Yeah, I have 3 kids.
3 kids.
So the youngest is 2, and then 10 and 11.
Wow. So very young child, and then teenager. That's difficult, isn't it? In normal circumstances, but in a lockdown. So how did you adapt? Did you homeschool the children? How was it in Berlin? How was it for you?
Yeah, it started in March last year that we would homeschool 2 kids, and for the small one, we didn't have the kindergarten yet. So it was really intense. And some kids they do it really well, and some kids are not doing really well, or they have difficulties. So my son, it was okay. My daughter, she was like, oh my God, I will drink another hot chocolate before, and then it was the whole day sometimes, so it was really really not easy. And in the beginning I said, okay, let's do first lesson, we go out to the park and run, or you can choose, you do yoga, because I
Yes.
had I understood that we also have to move and do some sports, but then it was a lot, so we didn't, it was really hard to make it over the day. It was really hard. It was really hard. And then, my son, he started to make it with a friend, and my daughter, I took her to my office, and she's 11. She's very creative. She's doing, so she would paint. Also, she took the iPad to make animations.
Yes.
And for her, so this is was this year when she was going mad. She couldn't stand it anymore. And then I took her, this was also a strategy,
Yes.
to keep it more nicer. So I took her to the office, and then we went to a restaurant with our, plastic package, not to waste no more waste. And we ate Asian food at my office together, and we were lucky,
That is such a creative idea, Sarah.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah. And she could have a chocolate cake. So she had her favorite chocolate cake, around the corner at my office. There's a very good bakery, and she was so this made her happy, and this helped us to have a bit of a routine, but a different routine,
Yes.
So to think what is now possible, what is normally not possible. If they go to school, they go to school. But if they are in home office, they can have hot chocolate while doing homework.
Yes.
Or she comes to office, or, to make it a bit more nicer also for them.
Yes.
So, and to cook also together and to do some stuff together. But I confess it was really hard. And as I said, in March, we had this, and my smallest, after summer last year, she had a kindergarten place, but then it stopped, and we couldn't explain it to her. She was so young.
Yes.
And how could she understand? Why is she not meeting her friends again?
Exactly.
And then in March we said, okay, I have my press card because with my press card I could send her to kindergarten.
Yes.
Said, okay, this is the limit, and then she went again, and this is a turning point. Then, okay.
Yes, you're right. You touched on something that we don't often think about. The very young children, they can't understand this is a pandemic, this is a lockdown, this is a situation. It's very tough, poor thing.
I also was thinking, how can they, because they will remember this changed so much their lives.
Yes.
You have to imagine, and they say it, they reclaim it. They say, Mom, you have to understand, you have to imagine that we are the whole day with the mask. So not me, I'm not the whole day. If I have a shooting, sometimes there's a whole day with the mask, but they are every day in the school with the mask and not meeting friends. And we were so strict for months. We said, they can't come here, they can't sleep here anymore, And then I said to myself, how can I make it that maybe they have a good memory about it.
Yes.
I wanted to travel, but it didn't work out for me. Sometimes people traveled, and so other people say, they traveled, they went away. But I think it's really good if you find a way to make something good out of it. So my son, he said for him it was fine. He could sleep more. He could go to bed later. He was somehow enjoying also. And this is, I think it's important that it's not something like traumatic for them, but it could be also something different, but not only bad.
Yes. Wow, Sarah, but you're very creative, so you made it work.
Yes.
You made it work.
Yeah, I think this is, I think it's really important to sometimes to stop and to see what are my possibilities. What can I do? So I can't do many things, but what can I do instead of, falling into crisis? And I had my crisis before. So I said at one point, I don't, I don't want to, no, really. So what can I do? How can I save the situation for me? What can I do? And and when you have kids, they are like a mirror, and it's all very dynamic. And if I'm bad, so they are bad, you know. But if I dance here, I put the music on and I dance, or I do yoga, then they do it with me, you know.
Yes.
My small daughter, she asked me today in the morning, mama, she's doing yoga. Do you do yoga? You know, she's knowing.
Oh, I love
So
that.
you go with the kids and you take them, and then you create something. You know, that's why it's so important, the self-care.
Yeah.
And this is also something I understood again. So this is something important in my life.
Yes.
The self-care. I told you before.
Yes.
that
You're telling me. I didn't know if you were going to talk about that. It's so personal, but
yeah, it's really personal. But when years ago I separated. I told you I separated, and then there was a time. So I asked myself, why do I wait for somebody to give me a beautiful ring? And then I was asking myself, why I'm single, I'm missing something, and why I should, if I'm in a partnership, say to another person, I love you and I love you for the rest of my life, if I don't say it before to myself. So I decided, and I didn't know there are books about it. I didn't know that other people wrote books about it. But it was just my own very personal insight that I understood that nobody would care of me when it's not me, you know. If I don't, but why would I say to another person, I marry you and I love you for the rest of my life, if I didn't say it first to myself?
yeah.
So I asked myself for a couple of weeks and months, what would this mean for myself to marry myself? So I married myself in my very personal way. And what's important of this, it's something you do every day, because I also think that people who marry it, they should marry every day somehow.
Yes.
So you keep it alive, and
Yes.
and you come always back and you work on it. So it's also
Yes.
work. So this means that I take care of myself, and it's if I'm sad, if I'm angry, if I'm without energy, if I'm lost, you know, I always come back to myself and ask myself, what do I need? What helps me, and what, you know, and then life goes again. And this is beautiful, because then the focus is somewhere else. Sometimes we put our focus outside and think that I go there and go there, and then we miss ourselves, or ourselves we don't go together. So
Sarah.
in this way, I guess I passed the crisis, and it was not easy, but I was always, I had my base, you know, so I was going through, but I always came back. I searched for help, you know, help of like this workshop. So who could help me, or who could, you know, what could help?
Yes. Oh, Sarah is so inspirational. And the story of you marrying yourself, I mean, I love that, because it's beyond just self-care, isn't it? It's something deeper inside of you. That's great. And that shows in your work, and how you have coped in the pandemic, and how you transformed your life, and, you know, your family as well. So Sarah, for us, my last question for you is, what's next for you, Sarah, as a professional? What are your plans? What do you have in the pipeline for now on?
So for now, I have some projects at the same time, but one of them, which is really a challenge also now, for Rosenthal, the same company, we are doing now a book also. So it's, you know, we made a campaign. You can see it also in my Instagram. We made a campaign. We were in Madeira, and now it comes to a book, and we bring it all together, and you know, and then they make a newsletter with all this footage of the photos and the recipes, and this is so beautiful. So also this teamwork. So I have found other professionals, for example, a photographer. and she's so great, Karina Adam, and she's doing
Yes.
like the same work as I do in photos, just photos, you know.
Yes.
So yes, I want to travel. I want to meet people and have different challenges again. So I'm
Yes.
open to whatever comes, but wide.
Yes.
And this
Wide.
traveling is really it would be a pity, you know, if people say, so we planned for Deutsche Welle to go to Italy in September and it's cancelled, you know. I know it
Yeah.
for 2 days now. We don't go because we don't know if Delta, you know, the
Yes.
next wave is coming.
Yes.
So I hope that we can travel again and we can make it possible.
Yes.
Wherever and however. So I'm in. I say yes.
Well, Sarah, you know, if anybody can make it work, that's you, with your creativity, adapting, you know, you have really inspired us. And I just want to tell people, you can follow Sarah on Instagram, and you know, in the Parallel Films here, on her account on Instagram, and there you can have all the links and all the references to her work, her website, and what's next, and also connect with her if you're interested in connecting with her for work or for anything else. We have a comment in the chat, somebody saying, what a great idea to marry yourself.
Thank you.
It's fantastic. So
yeah, thank you so much
thank
for
you, Sarah.
inviting me. Yes,
It's been such a pleasure, Sarah. We could talk to you for hours, really, but we have to come to an end. So thank you so much, everyone. If you'd like to see this interview again, it's going to be live on the Wandsworth Arts Fringe website for over a year, and also in our website here forever. So you can see Sarah's interview whenever you like. Thank you so much, everyone. And there's another comment from from Krista saying, thank you so much, both. I think she really enjoyed it. So thank you so much, everyone. Have a lovely day, and I'll see you soon. Thank you.